Hi people, it's Archivist here, coming at you very early in the morning, so apologies if I sound a little dopey, a little tired, but I thought I'd make a sort of unique video today, which doesn't really relate to gaming, but I'd like to share it regardless. Because I think there's quite a bit of overlap between people who like technology and people who like to play games, especially as they rely on each other quite a lot. So today's topic is going to be about the Apple Watch, and I actually just want to divulge my thought processes here, because I'm not certain whether or not it's for me. And let me just go through why. Now, initially, when I see the Apple Watch, my nerd in me, my inner Apple fan, just wants it. The desire factor is there. I definitely want this, shiny new object that will link with my iPhone. I see some of the functionality and think that's kind of cool. The ability to interact haptically with other people on your watch, to take notifications from your watch. And so there is a very strong initial desire. It certainly makes a good instant impression. But then you're taken aback by the reality of what's being offered here. So first of all, it doesn't really offer anything that your iPhone doesn't already. I mean, by its very functionality, it's essentially an extension. So instead of having to reach into your pocket and pull out your iPhone, instead you just have it on your wrist as a watch. And it seems that is essentially the selling point of the watch. And of course, this is something that's only going to be even useful in a few situations. Now, I don't know about most people, but a lot of the time I have my iPhone out of me in front of a desk, so it's right there, easy access. So the only real time where there's a slight difficulty in reaching it is when I'm moving about traveling. And I don't think that happens to most people enough of the time to warrant such a large investment, simply to have it so that you don't have to reach into your pocket and pull out your phone, because that is essentially what this device is selling you. But of course there is the other side, the glamorous side, the prestigious side, because watches, obviously watches are more about prestige than they are about functionality. I mean, who needs to tell the time anyway when you've got smartphones now? But the Apple Watch is at something of a disadvantage there, because it's a piece of technology. It will become outdated when the next Apple Watch comes out, and so its price will drastically decrease, whereas perhaps another timepiece, another watch would actually increase with time. So there's that as well. And so what we're left with is this very attractive looking device, but the functionality it's impressive, but is it actually necessary, especially for the money they're asking? That's, I think, an advantage of many of the Android smartwatches. They don't cost too much, meaning that it's an easier decision, if you do want that. I'm not saying the functionality of the Apple Watch is flawed. I'm just saying it's too small for the price they're asking, especially as when you go on the Apple Store and see what you can pre-order, the price really starts to skyrocket as you go into the more, a high-end bands, the high-end wrists. So the most basic one costs somewhere around £400, no idea what it is in dollars. But that's for the sports band, and I just think if you're going to pay around £400 for a watch, it shouldn't have some plastic band. It should be metal by that point. But if you do want a metal band, you have to go up to the regions of 600, 700 for a watch, and that just seems like too much. That's outside the realms of a spontaneous purchase for a nice device. That's quite substantial. And of course you've got the Apple Watch Edition, which is the gold version. I don't think I'd concern myself with that anyway, because that's clearly for a certain kind of person who's got a lot of money and they can afford to spend it, and fair enough to them. They've obviously, if I was loaded, I'd get it, but I think for the average consumer, no one's going to bother saving up for it, just to have a gold Apple Watch. And so I'm torn between this instant desire for this shiny new device, but also the practical drawbacks. I was in a similar scenario with the iPad, though, to be fair. When the iPad first came out, for a long time I held off getting one, because essentially I considered them to be useless in a similar way, in that what they offered was being offered by other devices and in some ways better. So the touchscreen functionality, the general iOS experience, was being offered by the iPod Touch I had at the time, and the iPhone if you had one. And of course, if you just want something bigger, then you have a laptop. So I thought this iPad fell into far too niche of a slot in the market, and so I didn't understand why I'd get it. But then I got one sort of as a it was Christmas, I had some money, I wanted to get one, and now I use it constantly. I love the iPad. It's a fantastic device, the iPad Air 2. And so I've discovered that something I didn't think I needed, well, I never needed it, but something I didn't think I want, I now love. So there is the element of the unforeseen gratification I could potentially get. But to close off this video, because always it is just me, please do let me know what you think of the Apple Watch, whether you'd even consider getting one, because I'd say the majority of people at this point are thinking to themselves, I don't think I want this because it's too expensive and it doesn't offer enough. But I'd love to your guys' opinion on the Apple Watch, what you think of the price point, functionality, how it's made, all that kind of stuff. As I say, I'm not making a firm decision either way. This is really just a thought process, and maybe some of the thoughts I'm going through could help shape your decision potentially. So that concludes this video. As always, people, thanks very much for watching. Oh, and apologies for my tired voice, and see you next time.